This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live from the clubhouse, it's Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Nadine.
And this is Amanda.
And tonight we watched Peninsula. Or Train to Busan Presents Peninsula. Embarrassing ploys. So Amanda is going to give us a quick summary of the movie.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Amanda gave up watching partway there.
I did. In fact, I did.
And she was barely reading the subtitles from the beginning.
You're not wrong. We open up shortly after the events of the first one, and we see this man with this woman and a child in a car, like, fleeing South Korea. He's in the military, and we find out it's his sister, and that's his nephew. Bad things happen. She dies on the boat, trying to get out of the country. He's relocated to China, where he gets in with some seedy characters, I guess, and him and his brother-in-law and some others are told that if they go back to South Korea, there's a truck full of American money that they can use to get rich. They'll get half of it, which is not believable. And South Korea is the only place that's overrun with zombies. Everywhere else has locked it down.
Yep, and everyone has started referring to it as the Peninsula for no reason.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So I have what we'll call fun facts, but I only have 3. There were not, like, any fun facts for this movie. On IMDb, they only listed, like, 4, none of which are in my list, because they were all whack. So I watched all the interviews where I had to read what they were saying, and this is what I came up with. This movie was 10 to 12 months in pre-production, which is a pretty long time for a movie to be in pre-production, like, getting ready for it.
Quick question.
Yeah.
When did they start pre-production?
Well, they started filming in, like, I think it was, like, June of 2018, I think.
Okay.
And so, 10 to 12 months before that. So, the lead actor in this movie, he said that the most challenging part of playing the role was the running. That was like, I feel you, bro.
Yeah.
And once you watch the movie, it's like, ooh, that is a lot. And then the director, he was asked, why do you like zombies so much? And his answer was, even zombies are fantasy material. Which I thought was a weird thing to say.
I mean, we've already established that this man is a robot in human skin.
Yes. Like, the way...
Pepper! Stop it. We talked about this.
But yeah, like, if you've watched Peninsula so far, then you know that there's this really creepy late-night show interview that happens in the beginning, and that
Between 2 robots.
Well, and that is what this director acts like in his interviews. It's just like that. Like a weirdo creeper. He was very dry. There was, like, nothing interesting being said in those interviews. So now, we're going to move on to scares.
I was a little bit caught off guard at the scene where I came back to focus at the movie towards the end, where the car with the little girls and it gets T-boned. Because I did not see that coming.
Okay. So one of the car crashes got you.
Yeah.
Good. I know I should think of at least one, but I just don't think I was scared at any point. Yeah, I just don't feel like we knew the people well enough, and I don't know, like, I mean, I definitely cared about the family, but they seemed fine. Like, it seemed like everything was going to be fine. I wasn't that worried. Yeah, I cannot think of a single time that I was scared, which is sad. Should be able to think of at least one.
I know, because, I'm sorry, but there's, like, nothing scarier than a zombie that can run after you.
These zombies are fast, too.
Yeah.
Even if a normal human was running after me that fast, I'd be like, oh, gosh.
I know, to have an undead thing, like, who doesn't get tired and just wants to bite you, run after you,
Yes.
it's terrifying.
Yeah, it should be terrifying. It was just so bad CGI, so much bad dialogue, but it made it hard for any of it to really feel like you were actually there or care about it.
Yeah, and we were never, like, really drawn into any of the characters, unlike in the last one where we loved some of them and they just died, and it was horrible.
It was horrible. And in this one, it's like, a lot of it, we were just left with questions. We were like, well, what happened to her husband? Was her father with her the whole time? How did she get her other daughter with her? Like, what?
Yeah, because that's something that happens is our soldier, our main character guy, basically, as he's driving out of South Korea, he comes across this couple whose car's wrecked, and they have a little girl with them, and they're like, help us please, but the man's clearly been bitten, and then the woman's like, oh, please just at least take our daughter, just take her somewhere safe, like, leave us take her, and he's like, nope. He just drives on. He doesn't even pull down his windows at all, like, I mean, their car was kind of full, but, like, you could have taken that little girl. She was clearly fine. And then later on, he realizes when he sees this woman that was the same person he denied help.
And then eventually he even like says to her, "Oh, I drove past you. I didn't stop to help you." And she's like, "Okay." She's like, "So did 31 other people."
Yeah. Like, that's why I didn't recognize you, dude.
Yep. So it's just interesting to see that she was such a turning point for his character and he was like nothing to her. How about laughs? I can think of one. There was when the creepy general guy, who's definitely too much, was in Conan Commander Guy's office.
Oh.
And it was like clear that something was about to go down between them. And I don't know why, but the other guy was hesitating not to shoot him. And then the little guy comes in and he's like, "Wait." And then he's like, "Oh, you guys are a thing?" That was funny.
Yeah, the guy he thought was a rat, and then he's like, "Oh, you're not a rat. You guys are just, like, dating? Adorable.
I know.
Continue. I'm gonna go."
"I'm gonna leave you two alone." That was so cute. Like, just his reaction was so funny.
I mean, I think just, like, the little girl and the grandpa were just, like, generally adorable and funny in their own little cute way.
Oh, yeah. So cute.
His grandpa's, like, crazy, and everyone's just, like, going along with his crazy. And then the little girl, she's just, like, adorable.
I know. And it was so funny, too, when the teenager was like, "Well, you can get Jane to meet us at the port then, because you guys are so close. Or are you not close?" And then he was like, No, we're close. We're close."
We'll meet there. It's fine. I got this. It's fine. It's happening.
He was such a cutie. Man, it definitely felt like there were people taking the places of the characters from before, which felt weird to me. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely felt like the brother-in-law seemed like the homeless guy to me, because he would, like, not help himself so often.
He was kind of a mess.
Yeah, and then, obviously, the little girl is the little girl. And
Yeah,
then
this
that guy
movie
was-
just really phoned in.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely not well done.
no.
That leads us into a perfect section. What were our least favorite parts? What was the worst of the worst?
There's so much that was wrong.
There's so much. We can go on with this for a
Like,
minute.
I mean, I think one of the major flaws in the movie is the fact that you have these people who are still, like, stuck in South Korea. They're acting like it is the end all be all, like there's no hope for them. But, like, literally only South Korea has been affected by this zombie plague. Like, the rest of the world has gotten it locked down. It's not getting out.
And apparently you can just drive a boat right up to it.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Even when the moon is, like, brighter than the noonday sun.
I know.
Like, literally a joke.
It was so insane. I think probably, I mean, there were lots of parts that I didn't like, of course, but definitely I think just my least overall favorite is just the fact that there were different characters. I just don't understand why there were only 2 characters that survived from the first movie. To me, it makes 0 sense that you couldn't just form a story around those 2 characters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's another thing. They decided that the people from the first movie all dead. Because in the exposition in the beginning, they're like, "Oh yeah, everyone thought there was a safe zone in Busan, but there was never a safe zone." And then presumably all of those people are dead.
When was it? 4 years later?
It was 4 years later, in fact.
Oh,
Yes.
4 years later? Okay. 4 years.
The English dialogue was bad.
So bad.
And then the English translation, I don't think was much better.
That's another funny part, is when the guy was calling on the satellite phone, and then he suddenly started speaking English, and he sounded like the girliest girl ever.
Yes! And he's supposed to be like the leader of these gross men who have made like a game out of having people like fight zombies.
Yeah.
That guy's not going to be the leader of this group.
No.
No.
Things were just not explained either, because it seemed like as if he was separate from that unit, I guess. Like that military unit. It didn't seem like he was part of the military part, but it's like, well,
Yeah.
who are you?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. I don't know, this is like a much worse version of 28 Days Later. I feel like 28 Days Later really did a really good job of it. Like, the only people who were really amoral were, like, people who were in the military already. So they're, like, not that all military people are bad, just saying, like, they're very important. But, like, they were separated from everyone. They're the only people with guns. They've, like, lost connection to the rest of the world. And so they've kind of lost their humanity, but not the hierarchy of being in the military.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else is, like, still just trying to figure out how to live and, like, function. And eventually the movie ends with them, like, basically getting out.
Also, just so many convenient plot devices for no reason. It's like, oh, we're gonna have this woman in this room where everyone else has been bitten, but she didn't get bitten. And we're not even going to show you how it happened.
Yeah. Inconsistencies between the two movies. Because, like, in the first one, we have the zombies. They're just, like, pure zombies. Like, they have no intelligence to them. They just go after what they can see and what's moving in the light, and they try and bite it. And, like, if they couldn't see anything or hear anything, they wouldn't move. They would just be standing there like, what do we do? They'd shut down. In this one, they were still, like, even though there was no sound or, like, no light for them to, like, go after anything, they would still, like, be attacking something, like mauling the truck that someone was hiding in, even though they weren't moving or making a sound.
Yeah, did not make sense. And then also they pulled, like, a Halloween trick with when all the zombies came out of that one window that he had seen before, and then the guy just, like, taps his hand on the windshield and it cracks open. I was like, okay.
The old monkey wrench up the sleeve trick.
Yep. Had to be. What were our favorite parts? I loved that Jane was real.
That was cute.
That was cute. Was it how long our protagonist would take to make decisions? Is that your favorite part?
We have so much in common. Man, that guy just had all the time.
I know.
All the time for everything.
All the time and all the bullets.
It was so dramatic.
He was also a crazy good shot because he took out those lights on his first shot.
He was like a sharpshooter. And I mean, like, all men have to do military time in Korea, but, like, that doesn't mean you'll be good at it.
Or that good.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even a trained, really good shot would have trouble doing that. I mean, you're in moving vehicles.
Yeah, he was the opposite of a stormtrooper. The exact opposite. I can't really think of
The little girls weren't even that interesting because we didn't get to know enough about them. Other than that, they don't listen to their mother.
And one of them has some sick GTA skills.
Mm-hmm. I was also just so annoyed that the mother would risk their safety to go to that place. It didn't make any sense to me. The fact that none of them would be alarmed at the thought of getting on this ship where the whole point for that person was to steal millions of dollars.
The whole premise. Like, it's just not believable. Who would believe that these shady characters who don't like you are gonna split millions of American dollars with you and let you become rich?
Yeah, and you live on this peninsula, like, you don't have access to another boat?
Every car worked.
Every car? That was insanity. Even one car working would have been crazy.
I know, but every car worked. I guess all the boats sank.
Well, thank goodness someone had been through to clean up all the streets and leave nice clear paths everywhere, like you do.
I know, someone did not read The Stand before they made this movie. I didn't even think about that.
Like, how could you not think about that? It blows my mind that they thought that that would be believable. Yeah, probably overall, just my favorite part was the grandpa. Like, as soon as he came into the picture, I was like, oh, he's funny, he's likable. He was definitely the baby daddy from Train to Busan.
Yes, yes. I literally can't think of anything.
Really bad. Like, even if you were just going into this for an action movie, it's not even a good action movie.
Because it's all just the same stuff, just over and over again. Once I've seen a teenage girl drifting through the streets of a zombie apocalyptic Korea, I've seen it 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need to watch both those scenes where she's driving around there.
So many scenes.
So much. I felt like I was watching the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, that's what it was like. This was like the Fast and the Furious meets Mad Max meets like any zombie movie. Pick any of them because it was pulling stuff from everywhere. Also, they have a random Terminator line in it, basically. This is what people should be talking about when they call something derivative. This was hardcore derivative of everything. It was devoid of original idea.
It didn't bring anything new to it.
Plot quality.
Weak. So weak. It was bad. Like, unbelievably bad.
Yeah. The story in and of itself is boring. Like, the stakes are so low. I don't care if you get that money or not. Like, no. I don't know why you're going there for it.
It just wanted to be so many things at once. It wanted to be 28 Days Later. It wanted to be The Fast and the Furious. It wanted to be a heist movie.
It wanted to be GTA.
It wanted to be The Stand. Like, it wanted everything. You can't have everything, honey. You need to pick a lane, you gotta stay in it.
She's like, but not if I drift.
Not if I'm drifting, baby.
Yeah, so compared to the original, this was just so much worse. Like, it honestly was worse to the point where it makes you think, was this writer-director just, like, lucky that the first one was good? It makes you think so much less of that.
Yeah, I really want to be just like, you know, like, there was just a lot of pressure to get another movie out, and then they made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and so he just pushed this movie through.
I would definitely still watch, like, one more of his things to see if it was good.
I think, like, something that could have been an interesting direction for the movie to go in, if we're not even going to follow our character from the first movie, and we're just going to say we're just in the same universe, but we're not in the same plot line. If you just, like, went full, like, let's do a heist movie, but during a zombie apocalypse, how there'd be so much more than just a truck full of American money sitting there. Like, there's just jewelry stores people just left. There's art museums people just left. They just left everything there. And all that stuff is just sitting there. And what if it was just, like, Ocean's 11 meets 28 Days Later in South Korea?
Really, what's one more movie to throw in?
Because I feel like that would be, like, at least more interesting. It'd be a little bit different. You just make, like, really fun, charming characters who go into the zombie apocalypse.
Yes. And make them just a little bit smarter.
Make them more of a risk factor. Like, make it difficult for them to have gotten into South Korea to get this.
It took no effort for them to get in there.
Yeah.
Which is just totally unlikely. I'm sorry, but if there's a peninsula that's carrying this disease that is this bad, then that's definitely being guarded.
Give me that. Give me the charming characters. Give me the challenge, the riskiness.
Little Pitt, little Clooney.
Yes! Like, come on! Give me some Matt Damon in there!
Yeah, I mean, this main guy was okay looking, but I mean, you know.
We could have stacked the deck here.
Yes, I know. Oh my gosh. That's the other thing.
The teeth.
Yes!
Every bad person had disgusting yellow teeth. Like, they didn't even know what toothpaste was.
Yes. So gross. It's only been 4 years.
I know. I'm sorry, but it's a zombie apocalypse. Top 10 things should be your dental health. There's no dentist anymore. What's going to happen when you get a toothache? You're going to die. You're going to get an abscess and you're going to die.
Creepy Conan guy had that picture on his wall, but it's like of a fully dressed woman pretty much.
Yeah, it was like a soda ad.
Yeah, like, I was like, you don't have access to anything better?
Come on, there's got to be a Korean equivalent to a Playboy.
Yeah. For sure. And also, it just felt very odd to us that they were so stressed for food. It's only been 4 years. There are so few of you that are like normal humans living here. You shouldn't be that stressed about food.
I felt like they had their facility like really locked down. Like, it felt pretty secure to me that they're like bringing in zombies for this gladiator pit kind of thing. That was very weird. Maybe get a little agriculture going, because like that's important.
Yeah. It also seemed very odd to us that these creepy, the worst kind of men wouldn't have some women around.
You can't tell me that, like, literally this woman and her children are the only women left. Like, they're the only ones that didn't make it out. Like, these creepy dudes would definitely have a brothel of women.
Also, what was the relationship between her and the Conan guy? Because they knew each other.
There's so much, like, backstory stuff that doesn't even get explained, and so it's not even worth mentioning.
They treat it like as if we did already see a first movie about her and her family, and I'm like, you know we didn't, though.
I know.
That's not the family we saw. Oh man, that was the one other good part, too, was when the Conan guy got into the boat, and then they shot him, and so the last thing he did was put it into reverse.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was good.
Yeah, if you hadn't said anything, I would have missed that part completely, because I had checked out that last car chase scene. I was like, oh, I can't do this again.
And it's done with such bad CGI. Like, it's not impressive.
No.
Honestly, people's standards for CGI are so high right now because we know what it can be, that if you can't meet that,
always
don't do
been
it.
High. If your CGI isn't as good as the CGI in Jurassic Park, throw that in the trash.
That's true.
Jurassic Park is so old, and that stuff still holds up. And there are movies that came years, decades after it, that is their CGI is just trash.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't make any sense. At this point, CGI, you should not be able to tell it's CGI. Like, you shouldn't be able to be like,
level.
what we deserve at this point.
Yeah.
Anything else is like...
An insult.
Yeah. So what's your rating gonna be?
Oh, low.
I know, I feel like it should be higher because I want them to have more toothbrushes, but...
No, not to get low.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oi.
You did a song. Amanda was singing Destiny's Child Survivor during the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would give this, like... And I mean, I want them to have more than this, but they only deserve, like, half a toothbrush.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah. I'm like, same. Half a toothbrush. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's my lowest rating yet. And I was like thinking, I was like, I'm pretty sure Mr. Jones got a better rating than that.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I have to say that I do judge people harsher if I know that they're capable of more.
Yeah.
So, like, the guy who did Mr. Jones, he's just only capable of but so much. If I was judging a college student, it would be different than if I was judging Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
So I've already seen Train to Busan, and
Yeah,
you marketed this as Train to Busan presents Peninsula.
I know.
So
Like, yeah, if Quentin Tarantino did this would be zero toothbrushes.
Oh, it'd be so... Oh, yes, yes.
If this was his movie, like, as it is right now.
Oh, I'd be so depressed. Oh my gosh, I would die if Quentin put out something this bad.
That I heard that was sad is Quentin's like, maybe I'll just end on
10.
I know. No, on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
He's supposed to do 10.
I know, but he's like, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just stop now.
Oh,
On my head.
He's too excited with the baby.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe he's too mad that Parasite took the Academy Award from him. He deserved it. I'm sorry, Parasite was good, but it was not as good as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I feel so strongly about this. Because, like, Parasite, it was a good movie, but it wasn't, like, so incredible. It was nice to see diversity. Like, I was glad to see someone else win it, but not against Quentin.
But I mean, that's another thing. It's just the Academy Awards, they are very political. Like, a lot of times actors won't even get the award. Like, the movie that they get the award for is really meant for the one that they got before. They were nominated for it before, but they had to give it to someone else because they owed someone else an award.
It just seems like they'll never give Quentin anything, even though he totally deserves it.
I mean, they got... Leonardo finally got one. Maybe Quentin will get one too.
Man, I loved when Quentin gave a speech for writing, and he was like, it's kind of interesting when you go up here for a writing one, because there's no one else to thank. You did it. I was like, you're so funny.
I did it.
So cute.
So fun.
I know. I love him so much. Oh, man. On a personal level, if I were doing this movie, it for sure would have been the same people. So, like, the girl, her baby, and this little girl. And then the little girl would have wanted to go back because of her mom.
Yeah.
Which then the stakes would have made sense to me.
Yeah.
That's pretty low.
Yeah, that's our...
It's like, how low can you go?
On the lowest I don't think I'll ever go would be a 0, but I don't know if I'd ever...
Drop to negatives?
Oh, no, I would not go to negative. Not worth it.
I would only ever drop to a negative if it's like we paid to go see it in theaters. I feel like that could make me salt enough to drop to a negative.
I mean, if I'm rating something negative, I'm not finishing watching it. No.
Although, I mean, we sat through all of, what do you call it? You know the one I mean. Where, like, from the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, this is going to be horrible. But then we just watched the whole thing, and they sang Oklahoma at the end.
Oh, yeah. That
was very bad.
I was just real hopeful for that one.
Well, so was I. But I
was
could
hoping
tell.
It was
I could
make
tell
a turn,
so
and
early.
it never did.
That one was... I mean, if there was ever a movie to be shut
I'm thinking about ending things.
Yeah.
Because by the end of it, you're thinking about ending things because it was so bad.
So, Peninsula, not really worth your time if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
We told you pretty much everything. We definitely told you all the good parts.
I mean, unless you really, really wanted a Fast and the Furious movie with zombies in it, then, I mean, like, why not?
Yeah.
If that's your taste, then you'll probably like this movie.
But you also have to like bad CGI. If you're like, oh, I like those things, but I want my CGI to at least be Jurassic Park level, this is not the movie for you.
Yeah.
Alright guys, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Scary Movie Clubcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next movie night, and don't forget, there are 69 days till Halloween. Bye!
Bye!
The lead actor who plays the main guy, he...
The worst neighbors in the whole world.
Amanda lives next to the little girl from this movie, and she's drifting out all the time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Peppy!
You need to stop it.
I want you to gear up for it.
I know, I can tell by your face.
I was like, here it goes.
This is futile.
Get. He's like, but at least you saved the poster.
I know. Grocery trucks full of money, indestructible Korean car engines.
I know, you gotta get one of those Korean car batteries. It'll never let you down.
Never.
4 years into the apocalypse. It's fine.
You start
and
up,
that Korean gas.
started up first try, boom.
He didn't even have to do anything to it.
The car didn't even
crazy.
sputter anything or like stall out at any point. There was 0 car problems.
With any of the cars. Because all of them were. All the alarms were still going off.
Yes. Flares.
Fully dressed pornographic women. 69 days till Halloween. Bye.
Bye.
It's fun, you know?
It's the Bill and Ted.
I don't know, you laugh. It's very fun.